Hi, this is Roger East with RightStar. I wanted to share with you a solution that RightStar has brought to the table for the various service desks that we work with. We've been having this tool for a number of years now. It's called ScanStar. And what it is basically a barcode scanning add-on for whatever service desk that we represent that you might be using. So this tool works the same whether you're using the Remedy Enterprise application, whether you're using the Footprint Service Core application, which is actually what I have up here today, whether you are using the Remedy Force, the BMC Salesforce.com based help desk solution, or whether you're using Jira Service Desk from Atlassian, this tool works the same with all of them. And what it basically does is gives you an ability to go in and perform three primary functions, as you can see depicted here on this little emulator that I have running, so that whatever I do on my scanner that I have here on my desk, you'd be able to see. So the first module that we have allows you to do bulk receiving, and upon those receipt, we'll capture that information in the scanner, and then we will actually create the record, the asset record, the CI record, in your respective CMDB, depending on which one of those products that you are using there. The second module we'll then go into is the kind of the day-to-day use of working with your assets out there. So we call it the track module, but this is where you are, taking, for example, a laptop out of inventory and assigning it to a new employee. So we want to be able to reflect the fact that it's no longer in inventory, it's now been deployed, and that it has a user associated with it. Or it may be, of course, a new employee, and I'm going to assign him a laptop, a docking station, a tablet, and a phone. Well, I could do all of those in one fell swoop and just say, I don't want to be put into production. They're going to all be assigned to Roger East, and then I just click the serial number of each one of those devices I'm getting ready to assign to that individual in one fell swoop. Or this may be where I'm shipping inventory from one location to another one, shipping back desktops that have come off of hit the end of their lease period, if you would. I'm shipping some elements back to to Dale for repair. It again gives you an easy way to use the scanner to reflect that. And one other very good use case that a lot of our customers do is from time to time they have loaner equipment that they put out into the field. So if somebody's on a special project and they need to have a laptop, or they need to have a projector, or whatever type of inventory you want to track, this would be a great little tool to be able to use to say, hey, we're taking this out of there, loaner inventory, and again, assigning it to somebody for a brief period of time. So that's your middle module there. The third module will really help most of you out if you are required to do those physical inventories on a periodic basis. And the way the logic works here with this ScanStar product is that my purpose-built scanner, which has a lot of memory in it, it's basically a handheld PC, we synchronize the memory of that with the CMDB so that when your technicians go out into the field to help perform these audits in the verify mode, they basically can walk up to the building, to a cube, to somebody's office, scan the device, and it's going to pop up, well, this should be a model number 126 from Dale, and it should be in Roger's cube. And if it is, fine, go to the next record and just keep on going. And of course, we're writing a record into the file that on a given date and time stamp that we verified this item was where it was supposed to be on this date. And of course, obviously, as we're doing that verification run, if we come across an element when we scan that serial number or asset tag and we see that we don't know anything about it, it of course will immediately pop up a warning to you saying item not found. Do you want to create it right now? In which case you could do that. So let's go into just a little bit more detail on the different modules here. So as I mentioned, the receiving module is where you're creating the entries in the CMDB of your choice here. So the two fields you see here that I've got in green are my scan fields. In this demo, I've got asset tag and serial number, which are the typical ones that everybody uses. But we will allow you to have up to 10 scan fields in your environment, and that's no extra charge. We just make that as part of the normal offering there. And an example of that might be that some people will put like a barcode on the loading dock or a barcode on the inventory room or a barcode on the training room or whatever, because where you're moving a device to, if I can have it be a barcode, again, it's just another automatic entry as opposed to having to select that from a drop down or having to actually type in that information. The fields in red you see here are because my CMDB makes these unique fields that have to be associated with every record. I've got to make sure I'm doing that in the scanner. And those two fields or more fields would be dependent upon which CMDB that you were using there. Then all the fields in black that you see here are just suggested fields that you might want to capture at the time of receiving. Like, what location am I receiving these into, assuming that you had multiple inventory locations. And that could even be down to the building, the floor of the room, or, wherever it needed to be. Maybe I want to reference that these are all coming in on a given PO number or all part of a given call center that you've got out here. So there's your PO number, there's your call center. Maybe I want to capture, I've ordered 10 laptops for my engineering division. They're all the same model, make, brand, same warranty. Well, we might as well capture the price we have in there because we will make that part of the attributes that are part of the asset record within the CMDB. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how that kind of works there as you go through it. So let's go in and actually do some. So what are we going to be receiving today? Well, we'll just grab some desktops. And these are going to be, as I said, for my engineering division group that we've got here. These are all going to be ordered in from Dell and, whatever the particular model number was that you had there. I'm going to receive these into my Virginia warehouse location as one of my inventory locations. As I mentioned, some more common things. These all cost $1,356 a piece. And that's enough for right now. So I've got some common stuff in there. Now I need to get my unique stuff. So I'm actually pick up my scanner. I'm on my loading dock. I go to my first box and unbox the desktop or whatever the item is. Here's my first asset tag, my first serial number. I go to my next one. Second asset tag, second serial number. I go to my third one. Third asset tag, third serial number. So as fast as I can pull the trigger on my laser scanner that I have here, I can capture that information on there until I get all of the things. Then I would just save and exit and say that I'd like to synchronize. In other words, have the scanner talk to the CMDB of whatever your respective help desk system is. And in this case, being that these are new items, it'll actually create those new records within here. Change my view to just be looking at that desktop. Since we said that, it'll give you an idea of what we did here. So you can see here are the three devices that we just scanned in there. So if we go in, it lets me know that it had already finished. If we go in and we take a look at any one of those and bring it up, this kind of gives you an idea of the type of attributes. We see that here was my asset tag, my date and time of the scan. We indicated we were all receiving these into the Virginia warehouse location. I'm the one who was logged into the scanner. They were all Dell machines. They were E6440s. There is the serial number of the machine. And here was that purchase cost on the machine. Now, you notice right now I'm not showing this machine as assigned to anybody because we just received them in the inventory. That would be something you would do in the next module. So let's talk about how that actually happens. Remember, I hit the synchronize button. Well, we'll let you synchronize two different ways. If you want to do it over Wi-Fi, we certainly support that, and you can do that. It is a batch mode, though. I have to say synchronize, and then it talks to the CMDB. Some of our customers, for security reasons, prefer not to do it over Wi-Fi, so they just wait till the person with the scanner gets back inside the building where there is a PC that has the ability to talk to the respective CMDB that you're working with, and they just put it into a cradle connected to that PC and say synchronize at that point in time. So both of those are supported. There's no difference in the way that we do that. So if we go back over here to our main view here, we've now got the new systems in there that we just scanned in. Now it's different technicians over here. It's the day in the life where I need to work with these assets that we've done here. So keep in mind, the scanner knows everything that the CMDB knows at this point. So the only thing I need to do in this mode is say, well, what am I going to change about one or several of these particular systems. So the only thing I'm going to do down here is I'm going to come in here and say that I'm going to assign this to an individual. And so I'm just going to look up the individual that I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it to myself here. And so what that would do, it's not going to change the asset tag. It's not going to change the model, the floor. It might, if we had a field in here called status, which we do in some of our types that we would do that, we would change it to now being deployed. But I just want to give these systems out there. So I'm just going to grab my scanner. I'm going to grab the machine out of inventory that I want to assign to Roger. And I'm going to scan either the asset tag or the serial number, because remember, they're both unique. So I only have to do one of those. And in this case, I'm going to give Roger two different machines here, just so you can see how I did that. So I scanned two devices. So again, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say I'd like to save and exit that. I'm going to say I'd like to synchronize. And then as soon as that finishes, when we go back and pull up that same device, we'll see that we've now changed that to where there is a user associated with the machine. And of course, the user comes from your help desk systems, people records, right? In the case of Footprints, it's called the address book. In the case of Remedy, it's called the people data. So again, whatever the respective field might be there. So again, I'm doing mine actually using the cradle where the USB thing is. So we have finished. So if we pull up now one of those devices that we just did, all the primary information, of course, kind of remains the same there. But as we pop down and look at this, I'm going to have to do a refresh on this guy here. Do a refresh on this guy, we're going to now see that there is a user that's been associated with that particular one here. So let me minimize my little screen here that I've got. And if we now scroll down to basically your links tab within Footprints, you'll see that that device has now been associated to a user, Roger East. And again, if I had done, in a typical case of like a new hire, if I scanned the docking station and the printer and the monitor and the thing, they would all be updated as far as who the new user is in the system at the same time there. So the last module, as I mentioned, is to help you on your physical inventories. Again, I reiterate that the scanner and the CMDB are completely synchronized. They know the things about it. So it's time for the inventory. We send our technicians out to the field. They come in here and they pop to the first cube that they go into. They scan out of the asset tag of the serial number, and it said, well, this should be a Dell E6440, and it should be in Roger East cube, and thus it is. And I go, fine, let's go on to our next one. And I scan the next device and says, well, this one's not assigned to anybody, so it should be in an inventory location in a Virginia warehouse. Again, it is a Dell E6440, and yes, that is exactly what it is. So I can just go on to my next record then. And I scan my next record, and it says, uh-oh, don't know anything about that. So that implies that somebody has gotten an asset into your environment that obviously didn't go through proper procedures. But we certainly want to be able to account for this. So I could go in right now and, capture the same thing I did when I was in receiving, the serial number, the asset tag, where I found it, whose cube I was in, and that type of thing, or not. In this case, you've seen me do receiving. I'm not going to bother to go through that. But again, to reiterate, what you're doing is bulk receiving, then day-to-day movement of your assets, either shipping, users associated with it, whatever it be, and in the verification mode to help you go in and do that. Again, it works with all of the service desk solutions that RightStar represents, which is Footprints, Remedy Enterprise, Remedy Force, and Jira Service Desk. So if this looks like something that you'd be interested in, let us know. We'll get somebody involved to call you back. It's based on an annual subscription basis, based on the number of assets that you have. We can also get you a list, of course, of the supported scanners that are out there, and that type of thing, and go into a more use case oriented demo if that is warranted. But I appreciate your time. It's certainly a way to speed up and be a lot more accurate in capturing this type of information. And thank you very much for your time.